Welcome to the coolest stuff on the planet.
Well, hello there, Kathryn. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing fine this morning.
So today's topic is a place that's close to my heart and that I visited a couple of times, and that would be Dublin, which is the capital city of the Republic of Ireland. And Dublin is a really cool city, has a great vibe. So we're just going to talk about some of the things that make the city cool.
Mm-hmm. I was surprised at how old a city it was. It was established in 988 AD, which is over 1,000 years ago. But there's actually evidence that people even lived there from 200 AD. And Dublin is also a writer's city. UNESCO declared it a city of literature because there's so many famous playwrights there and writers and poets who have lived there. For instance, George Bernard Shaw, Samuel Beckett, James Joyce, who actually made a comment about it and described the city as a center of paralysis. I guess he was not a fan of it at the time.
At some point, he actually decamped and moved to Paris because he was disgusted with it. But today's Dublin is probably nothing like the Dublin that of his day. Kathryn and I thought, if you're in a writer's city, where are you going to go? You're going to go to the Writers' Museum.
Makes sense.
So this museum showcases famous pieces of Dublin's literary history. So, for example, they have some first and early editions of Gulliver's Travels because Jonathan Swift was also from Dublin, and The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde, who we also forgot to mention, but who I'm a big fan of. So.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things at that museum is, in addition to seeing a lot of the first editions, manuscripts, typewriters, they also have some personal letters from some of the writers. And one I thought was really cool was there's a signed letter from George Bernard Shaw refusing to give an autograph to someone. And I thought that was really funny. So
he was a quirky dude.
Yeah, that's one thing I'd really love to see if I was there.
I thought this was really great. You can actually do literary pub crawls if you'd like. So you can go from pub to pub. Pub culture is really central part of Irish culture and Dublin culture.
Yeah.
Every source I've read has said that when you go into pub, the locals really are plenty happy to chat with you and sort of kind of welcome you into the pub family. So I thought that was cool. And I believe that because Dublin really has that vibe. Mm-hmm. But you can go in, you can chat, you can drink a Guinness, the famous beer of Ireland.
Yeah, and Guinness is almost synonymous with Dublin. It's been around for centuries. The brewery was originally started by Arthur Guinness at a time when water was not safe to drink. So most people drank gin instead of water. And of course, there was a lot of alcoholism and drunkenness. And he actually saw this as, a way to help people almost. It was, Guinness would be a healthier drink because it's got a lot of iron and minerals in it. And, because it's a beer, the alcohol content is lower than gin. So, and for years they had a slogan that said, Guinness is good for you.
Now, you may have noticed from the title that we called Dublin a fair city. So if you're wondering about that, it just refers to this very famous Irish ballad called Cockles and Mussels, or also sometimes it's known as In Dublin's Fair City. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of the unofficial anthem of Dublin, and it's about this legendary figure named Molly Malone, who was this pretty fisherwoman who would sell her cockles and her mussels on the streets of Dublin until she met with a tragic end.
Oh.
And today, supposedly, her ghost haunts one of the main streets in Dublin, Grafton Street.
Yeah, and they put up a statue there. You saw that when you went to Dublin, is that correct?
I did.
Yeah?
I did see it.
Yeah. Were a lot of tourists taking pictures and
stuff?
stuff?
Oh, yeah. And I did, too.
Oh, okay.
I have my picture with Molly Malone, so...
as your souvenir. Yeah, the statue was erected in 1988 to celebrate Dublin's millennium. And it got the nickname of the tart with the cart because the statue, she's got this very low-cut top on.
Very low cut.
And, the sculptor justified it on the ground saying that, women breastfed publicly in Molly's time, and so breasts were all over the place. So that was her justification for that.
But anyway, that is a perfect note on which to end this episode on Dublin. It's really an amazing city. It's just wonderful. But it's too awesome, and it's so awesome that we just can't fit it into one episode. So we're going to come back pretty soon for another episode. But in the meantime, if you want to learn a little bit more about something Dublin related, we have this article called 14 Best-Selling Books repeatedly rejected by publishers. And if you check that out, there's a section on James Joyce's novel Dubliners. So if you want to find out how many times that was rejected by publishers, check out that article.
All right, and we'll see you next time on the coolest stuff on the planet.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit HowStuffWorks.com and let us know what you think. Email travelpodcast@HowStuffWorks.com. Don't forget to check out our other podcasts, free on iTunes.